A while back, a new Telltales-esque game got announced called Dispatch. And while I'm not normally a fan of the genre, I couldn't help myself when I heard of who's actually voicing the characters. Jesse from Breaking Bad?
Yes! Hell yeah!
YouTubers like Moist Critical and Jacksepticeye, and even members of the famous D&D group Critical Role. This game so far has honestly been a treat, but the thing is, it's not fully out yet. It releases 2 episodes every week, so instead of our normal long-form story explained video, I'm gonna keep you up to date on Dispatch's suspenseful yet also hilarious story, at least for now until every episode is released. So without any further delay, let's dive into the first 2 episodes of Dispatch. From what we know so far, some of the humans on this version of Earth do have special powers that they could either be born with or gained later on in their life. It seems that magic also exists to some degree, and some powers do actually come from it. We don't know too many specifics about the powers, but I have no doubt that we'll fully understand them and how they work at some point in the future. Our story takes place in Los Angeles, and for the last 50 years, Mecha Man had protected the city. But this Mecha Man didn't have any special powers aside from the unbreakable will to protect the city's people. The suit was built by an ordinary civilian, and after the very first iteration that was dubbed Mecha Man Prime, this symbol of heroism would span multiple generations. The identity of the Mecha Men remained completely anonymous and was never released, even in death. After the first Mecha Man had died, the next one, named Astral, had teamed up with a star superhero group known as the Brave Brigade, leading to an unprecedented era of peace in Southern California. But this peace would come to an end when one of the Brave Brigade members, known as Shroud, turned villain and killed Astral, going to prison for 15 years after the fact. When all hope was lost for the citizens of Los Angeles, a new and third Mecha Man arose as a bulwark against organized crime in the greater Los Angeles area. We open to our main character, Robert, getting some kind of therapy session. He talks about his issues he has with his father, and if you haven't realized yet, this is the third Mecha Man, voiced by Aaron Paul. Once the person he's talking to reminds him that his dad is dead now, he gets a bit more serious. This supposed therapist is actually one of Shroud's goons Robert had kidnapped to get information on Shroud's whereabouts, since Shroud had left prison recently. After we hang him over this balcony, he tells us Shroud is at a steel mill, and we can choose whether to drop him or bring him back up. After figuring out if you're a psychopath or not, we see Robert pick up a vial and load it inside his mech. This is the Astral Pulse, and it's what actually powers the mech. Robert then infiltrates the steel mill, taking out any guards in his way before he eventually makes it to the surveillance room.
Hey, can I get a copy of that video when we're through here? 'Cause I'm about to fuck you up and those videos do numbers. Maybe we can go viral.
Ooh, maybe we can go viral.
All this build-up, face-to-face with your father's killer, and you come in here with that lame shit?
Where the fuck is Shroud?
The goon explains that Shroud will be there soon, and then begins mocking Robert about his father's death before Robert commands his robot to fucking slam him. As Robert enters his suit, it turns out this goon is a villain named Toxic, who is also naked for the next 10 minutes. They fight, and Toxic reveals that Shroud's been giving augments to all his henchmen, including Toxic, making them stronger than normal. Eventually, enemy backup arrives, and Robert is backed into a corner, getting restrained. While he stalls with an energy field, Shroud shows up. And after a brief conversation, Toxic explains that Shroud's after the Astral Pulse, and that it's not really Robert's anyways. Why Shroud isn't speaking directly to Robert, I'm not sure, but I'm guessing it's something to do with his powers. Robert comes up with a plan to put all the power into the boosters instead, but somehow Shroud knows this, and Toxic explains that it won't work. But Robert does it anyway. He's able to escape and make it outside the mill until...
Foreign device detected. Warning.
Robert entered a coma for 4 months, and at some point after he wakes up, he goes into a press conference full of reporters asking him questions about Mecha Man's future. He explains the suit is damaged beyond repair, and he's pretty much forced to step down as a hero. One of the reporters finds the series of events odd. Not long after Shroud gets out of prison, he lures Robert into a trap, destroying his suit and sending him into a coma. Why would Shroud have not just killed him in the hospital? Robert answers he must have not seen any use for it, since it seems Shroud was more after the suit and its power source. After the conference, Robert watches the news from a shop window before it's suddenly broken into and robbed. He tries to stop them, but while still injured, they're able to overpower him. Then, out of nowhere, a hero named Blonde Blazer shows up and rescues Robert. She explains that she works at the Superhero Dispatch Network, before fixing his arm and inviting him out for drinks. They head to a superhero bar and chat about his situation, including the fact that the dude spent millions of dollars on keeping his suit up and running to the point that he's now in financial ruin. She tells Robert that she has a proposition for him before he accidentally drinks the straight liquor that she's been chugging and spits it back all over her. So she goes to clean up. Then this dude named Flambe starts harassing Robert, saying he's not a hero anymore and doesn't belong in the bar. Robert roasts the fuck out of the dude and recognizes him as a former villain that he busted a while back. Flambe threatens Robert to leave, but Bro looks at the glasses of alcohol and water and decides whether or not he wants to douse him. Flambe either gets his eyebrows burnt off from the fuel added to his flames or slips on the wet floor, knocking a tooth out. The bartender kicks Robert out and Blazer meets him outside. She hands him another drink and then flies the both of them to a billboard facing the Hollywood sign. She then casually reveals that she knows his real name, and he explains that he's actually Robert Robertson III. Blazer says she isn't comfortable enough talking about her past, but she will be someday. She scoots closer and takes off his mask.
We can work with this. No, this... I'm sorry if I gave the wrong impression.
Oh, no.
It's my fault.
I'm so sorry. I totally misread that.
You didn't. I mean, you did. But I definitely...
After whatever that was, she explains that an old friend of Robert's, named Trackstar, also works at the SDN and recommended Robert to join them. Robert mentions how Trackstar is like family to him since the guy was the youngest member of the Brave Brigade and kinda ended up becoming his babysitter. Blazer then finally gives him the deal. If he helps dispatch and mentors some of the rookie heroes, SDN will help repair his Mecha Man suit. She then hands him a pair of simulation glasses for an assessment, and once he finishes, she's fast asleep on his shoulder. What the fuck? She snaps awake and tells Robert to meet her at the SDN offices tomorrow before flying off. Just, fucking leaving him at the billboard, I guess.
Were you a good boy?
Safer, stronger city every
I
single
met a nice lady.
The folks over there have to take the
She wants to help us out.
Episode 2 starts off with an SDN commercial starring Phenomenon, who's voiced by Travis Willingham. After, we see Robert in the SDN waiting room with another hero named Waterboy, who's here for an interview. By the way, Waterboy is voiced by Joel Haver, this guy.
Are there any quests in this town?
No, not really.
Robert helps Waterboy with his tie, and Flambe comes through the door looking pissed. Thankfully, he doesn't see Robert, and Blonde Blazer shows up shortly after to grab her boy. She brings him to a conference room where she suddenly tells him to strip. She explains that it's better to keep his identity as Mecha Man a secret. While he's changing, she brings up last night and mentions that the situation's complicated, but Robert assures her that it was nothing more than a nice night.
Yeah, I'd like to keep things professional.
Right, that's why you brought me to this conference room to strip down in front of you. Profesh.
Are you serious?
Who locks a conference room?
So, you two fuck or what?
This is the former villain Invisibitch, now known as Invisigal, and Blazer tells us that she's part of the Phoenix program where they rehabilitate former villains to use their powers for good. She tells Invisigal that Robert is her new dispatcher, and his identity as Mecha Man must remain a secret. With our new uniform on, Blazer shows us around the office, and Robert goes to the bathroom meeting this huge friendly dude named Royd. Before Robert can leave, Royd lets it be known that he knows he's Mecha Man. Robert has a mini panic attack, but Royd tells him it's okay, saying he was the one who picked up his suit so SDN could repair it. Heading to the records room to meet up with Blazer again, we instead meet this small old guy who gives us a hug.
It's a hug, not a hand job. Lighten up.
Be that as it may, I'm still confused.
Oh, right, because I'm old as shit. How about this? This jog your memory?
Trackstar? Holy shit!
Yeah, you fucker. Why are you accepting hugs from old men you don't know? Oh, and hey, they call me Chase around here, so keep it,
Sure, right. Yeah, Chase.
It's been what, 10, 15 years?
Chase explains to us why he's so old. His powers allowed him to move 50 times faster than normal people. But something he didn't know until it was too late was that he also aged 50 times faster when he used his power. After catching up with him, he introduces us to our new team. This is Sonar. He's voiced by Moist Critical and is a Harvard graduate who also orchestrated some of the most effective Silicon Valley investment frauds in US history. Oh yeah, and he also sometimes turns into a giant bloodthirsty bat monster. Flambe, who we're all too familiar with, controls fire, and his skin can't burn. Voiced by Laura Bailey, Invisigal, who we just met, turned herself in and joined the program under the condition SDN did not ask her any questions. She can hold her breath to become invisible and, ironically, has asthma. Coupe is a shadowy assassin who can fly and used to work for the mob, but went independent. Punch-Up, voiced by Jacksepticeye, was a carnival strongman who made a deal with a sorceress, giving him the strength of 10 men, but he shrunk to half the size of one in the process. Malevola is a half-demon with a magic sword that can create portals for teleportation, but is still somehow always late to meetings. Golem is a hulking construct created from dirt and mud, made sentient via magic. And lastly, we have Prism, a charismatic pop star who weaponizes light rays. With the team introduced, Chase shows us to our desk and we load up our computer. He tells us that this is our territory for taking care of any crisis that SDN subscribers are having. And now it's time to introduce ourselves to the team.
Hey team, this is your dispatcher, Robert Robertson. I'm starting my first shift.
Tell me that's not your real bitch.
And please clear the channel.
Get it, your email.
Shut the fuck up. Let me remind you, these calls are fucking recorded for training fucking purposes. So keep the fucking line clear before we send your stupid fucking asses back to whatever fucking cell we pulled your stupid fucking asses out of. Alright?
After mobilizing our team to many situations in the area, Invisigal goes into a solo mission, asking for some eyes to help her out. Confused, Robert asks what she means, and Chase tells him that they have access to all SDN subscribers' security cameras in the territory. Make sure to always read the fine print. Robert accesses the cameras to this donut shop where the call came from, and it's trashed, with his old man laying on the floor. Invisigal's ADHD kicks in, and she asks Robert his favorite donut, followed by some sex jokes, but he reminds her to focus on the task at hand. So she confirms the old man is still alive, and then hacking through the extra security on the CCTV, we find the culprit. Voiced by Liam O'Brien, he's a villain named Lightning Struck, trying to melt open a safe in the kitchen. That looks dangerous. He notices something is up and walks out into the parlor, so Robert tells Invisigal to disappear fast. She hits him with a tray and knocks him on the floor, but blood splatters on her, making her powers almost useless. They continue to fight, and he eventually gets a hold of her, pinning her to the counter. But then he calls her by her old villain name. Robert then comes up with a plan to activate the sprinklers and short out his weapon. After some more punching and slamming, the old man wakes up and holds the villain's dropped weapon, threatening them both. Robert is presented with a choice, to order her to disarm the old man or the villain, but no matter what we choose, she disobeys. The old man ends up injured and the villain escapes. Frustrated with her, Robert meets Invisigal in the lunchroom, and once they sit down, it gets a bit heated. They argue about the mission, and Invisigal tells Robert he's not a real hero, that he just sat in a suit his dad built like it's a video game. Robert calls her selfish, among other things, and infuriated, she disappears.
Feel bad. Good. Fuck you.
You gonna eat those Twinks?
That's not what they're... You know what? Help yourself.
Later on, we have a meeting with Blazer to assess how our first day at SDN went, and she notices Robert's bloody nose. We can choose to admit that Invisigal punched Robert, or we can cover for her. Whatever we choose, Blazer says the shift actually went pretty good, and that it's the best the team's ever had. The donut shop situation wasn't ideal, and Invisigal is difficult, but Blazer sees a lot of potential in her. She tells Robert he should be proud, and that the bar is low for this group, but he tells them how he feels.
Look, I like to make a joke and keep things light as much as the next person. But when it comes to work, I'm not fucking around here. Leading a supervillain team takes a different approach than a superhero team.
Robert tells them that not everyone's gonna make it, and that things are gonna get spicy, but he needs them to trust him to handle it. He doesn't want his higher-ups to step in, because they need to respect him even if he doesn't have powers. After some contemplation, Blazer agrees, and first thing Monday, they'll all get into a room together and be introduced to Robert. Heading back to his desk before he clocks out for the weekend, Robert notices Waterboy cleaning off a smashed donut. He tells us that Invisigal had nicely put a donut on his desk while smiling, but she came back after, absolutely furious, and just went crazy. He also tells us he's SDN's new janitor and thanks Robert for helping him get the job earlier. We head out of the building with Blazer and have a little chat. We're grateful for the opportunity, but Blazer says there's something she's been meaning to tell us since the other night. Before she can say it, Phenomenon comes out of nowhere, gives her a kiss on the cheek, and asks if she's ready to go. This is Blonde Blazer's boyfriend, and she introduces us to him.
The third Robert Robertson, leader of the Phoenixes. Blonde Blazer told me about you.
Really? Did she, say, I don't know, what came up in that talk?
She said you're a capable, honorable man that truly cares for others. Why are you so small?
Hey, come on.
Blonde Blazer and I have reservations in Tokyo at a restaurant where the owner dreams of sushi. You should join us.
No matter what we choose, dinner with the three of us doesn't happen, but Blazer appreciates it more if we say we can't go. Phenomenon says it's a shame, and he tells Robert to step back before he shoots up into the sky and flies off with his girlfriend in his arms. Dispatch is looking really good so far, and I honestly can't wait for the next episodes. But there are a few important questions and plot lines we can think about in the meantime. Why didn't Shroud kill Robert? His original explanation makes sense, but could there be another deeper reason? I'm curious to hear about Blazer and Invisigal's past, because they seem to be very important and most likely tragic. Also, the fact that Lightning Struck seemingly knows Invisigal is a little sus. Lastly, the most apparent question is what's going to happen between Blonde Blazer and Robert in the future now that we know Phenomenon is her boyfriend. If he finds out anything between them, he might just try and kill Robert. With his enormous ego already super apparent, he seems like the type. I'm super excited to see Robert meet the whole team in person, but anyway, how do you like Dispatch so far? You have any theories of your own or any details that I missed? Why don't you let me know in the comments? And if you enjoyed the video, subscribe to our channel so you can tune in for the next episodes. See you next week.